Hello everyone, this is Planckera, and welcome to my universe. So, back-to-back starting new pictures. And this is with me starting a new picture off stream, so I've certainly got my work cut out for me. I do. That's okay. You know what? It's a good time. Starting has always been the hardest part for me, so... Because, you know, once I get going... A lot of the time, you know, I can just plop things down, move things around, and, you know, it all works great. But getting started, oh man. And we're doing it while I'm sick. Timing's perfect. So, I've been watching a lot of Variance project lately, and I like what they're attempting to do. I'm not sure if they go quite heavy enough on character stuff, but to be fair, I'm also not quite sure what that would look like. But what they do is great. So, I like them. And I do hope that they continue to, you know, try to pull us on into that little world that they are creating. Because it seems like a pretty cool place. So, I wanted to draw some scenery. So I'm going to be drawing Leia Memoria on the peaks of Delafia. Because I was like, you know what? I have never drawn space on stream, and that just seems like a travesty. So I figured I'd draw something in this place, and, you know, just looking at these little buildings, I can't quite tell if you're able to go outside. You know, with this being above the clouds, it seems like, you know, perhaps you might suffocate if you tried to go outside. I'm not quite sure. But to be fair, we're also close enough to this planet that I think the tidal forces would rip everything apart if this was real life, so you know what? I'm not going to worry about it, and I'm going to draw them outside because I want to. I just want to draw a fancy railing and maybe some nice curtains in the foreground, and I'll leave it at that. But if I were to go look at this anyway, this does look like a little hallway of some kind connecting these, and I can't quite tell if this is a railing or not. So I'm pretty sure I can just do whatever I want. No one will care. It's fine. Mountains going into space are cool. So that is the plan. I wanted to draw some space. I wanted to draw a nice balcony, and I have some inspiration here from the other places, although this does not look like the places in space, but given it's the same place, I figure that they'll probably look pretty similar. Maybe with the stuff up here just being like a little bit more of a monastery, but you know, as always, I'm a do what I want, and I will figure it out from there. So I'm still a bit sick, and I spent this morning drawing a lot of things still, because I still have some stuff I want to finish for Christmas, or at least as much as I can. Good news, I have not been coughing as much, but I gotta say, even just talking this much, my throat is already starting to feel it, so we'll see how long I can draw. Give me a moment, I gotta cough. We'll see how long I can keep things up. I really don't want to damage my throat. That seems like it would be really unfortunate. So I do not want to end up like post-debut BB, since I'm drawing her on the B side drawing here. Don't want to end up like that. That is just that doesn't seem like it'd be good for anyone, really. Alright, so my thoughts here. I'm gonna need way more than this, but I'm gonna start there, I guess. Okay, so we'll have balcony. I already know I'm gonna need more. And that's why I'm kind of starting with this, because I want to make sure I get Leia on there looking really nice before I start thinking about what's in the background. And we're going to be seeing her slightly from below here, because I want to make the sky look really big. I am very interested in drawing all this lovely stuff. The mountains, the sky, the nice little planet that's probably tearing this planet apart. I'm guessing that this is the sun? Yeah, I can get behind making the sun kind of pink. That's kind of cool. You know, I don't actually know very much about stars, so I'm trying to think if there's any, like, pink stars in real life. You know what, I'm actually gonna look that up. Let's see if there's some real-world inspiration I can draw here. Are there pink stars? Okay. So, ho. In the nearby Triangulum Galaxy, one of the closest spirals to us in the universe, the pink color tracing the spiral's arms is strong evidence of new star formation. If you look through a telescope's eyepiece, distant galaxies always appear white. But with advanced cameras that pick up individual photons, some regions show a different color, pink. I always thought that most of the colored space pictures were like colored after the fact, because most of the light that we'd see there is not on the visible spectrum. Okay. At first glance, it's surprising, since there are no pink stars, and the majority of young starlight is preferentially blue. But once you realize it isn't just stars, but gas that can make light, the mystery solves itself. New star-forming regions produce lots of ultraviolet light, which ionizes atoms by kicking electrons off their nuclei. These electrons then find other nuclei, creating neutral atoms again, eventually cascading down through its energy levels. Hydrogen is the most common element in the universe, and the strongest visible light-emitting transition at 656.3 nanometers. The combination of this red emission line, known as Barma Alpha, line with a white starlight adds up to pink. Cool. I see. No, pink stars do not exist. In fact, pink light doesn't exist. When we see something as pink, it's actually because red and blue light are entering our eyes at the same time, and our brain interprets that combination as seeing pink. A star's color is directly proportional to its temperature, and the coolest and dimmest stars glow red, then orange, then yellow and white, and finally blue as the temperature increases. A star giving out lots of red light is too cool to emit much blue light, and a star giving out lots of blue light is way too hot to give out much red light. Okay. That's okay, I'm gonna make it pink anyway, but I was curious. Don't mind me. Okay. Humu. Alright, so, you know what, before I start, like, getting the railings and stuff in there, I think I'm gonna draw the characters this way. I actually know how big the balcony needs to be. I'm probably not gonna get her feet in there. It's probably gonna be, like, waist up here. And then I already know that I kind of want some, like, fluttering curtains in the foreground to make it look like you're kind of coming through a door. But, I guess that'll be for a bit later. I think... You know what? This method that I did for Pippa, where I just kind of drew the person in a silhouette first, worked really, really well. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll draw on top of it. So, it's been working for me. So let's see, what direction do I want her head to be tilting? Probably something like this. Yes, that is perfect. So I as always, I draw it kind of oval. I don't worry about making it smooth or anything, but I just try to make it clear in my head what direction the head is turning, so we can see there's an axis here. And then I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that can see this, but just due to where I put the bottom of the oval here, like right about there, I see that her head is turning that way. But I can see it, and this exists for me, so... Okay, well, I get a neck going out here, and shoulders kind of going back, and then gonna be like an arm coming forward because I can't say no to foreshortening no matter how hard I try. Dude, I'm gonna get good at it this year, okay? That is like #1 goal for me. I need to understand perspective in people, and I want to draw buildings and a bunch of other cool stuff. I had a second idea here. I'm not ready to draw it yet. I'm not quite ready to tackle complex architecture, but I'm going to keep that for a rainy day. Let's see. How do I want this to be going? She's going to be reaching out, so... elbow. Right about there, I think. It's okay if none of this is proportionate. That's fine. And then arm will come forward, and we'll get, you know, everything bigger, and then there will be, like, a hand. She's gonna be reaching out for us. She's like, here, come on, let me show you all this cool space stuff. You know you want to see it. And I'm like, hell yeah, I do. Okay. So body coming that way. I'm gonna send her hips a little further down. These shoulders are very broad. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And then, let's see, I'm gonna get her skirt kind of in here. I think that's a little bit too much there. But what I have in kind of my head here is we're gonna see kind of under the skirt, because like I said, I wanna be showing this from slightly below, so that this way I can make the sky nice and big, and it'll be great. Love making the sky big when there's gonna be a nice starry scene in the back there. So let's see. I just don't want the skirt to be coming too far forward either. So it'll be kind of like that or something. And then we'll see like the underside through here. Yeah, something like that should be fine. And then she'll have legs. I'm pretty sure I'm not actually going to draw the legs or anything. I'm pretty sure that all of this except her arm is just way too small. Let me, I'm going to make her arm a little bit more proportionate. So yes, I do want it coming out. I do want it to be that big. But I'm just making it proportionate to everything else for now. You know, for now. I don't know. Do I want her to be pointing, or do I want to have her putting, like, her hand out on the rails of the balcony? That's a choice. Let's draw both and just let her be this weird three-armed creature for a little bit while I decide. I think I want her to be a little bit more relaxed. So I'll go with this one. So she can just be grandma. And just be like, here, young one, let me show you the thing. And yes, I think that suits her just fine. And this arm is going to be a lot smaller. Because it's going to be kind of going into the foreground here. And we'll get stuff like this. I just want to get the basics of the pose down here. Right now, she's twisting a little weird, but that's fine. Got to be going kind of like that, and head kind of like this. She's looking back over her shoulder at us there, and being like, look at all the cool things out here. You know you want to come look at all the cool things. Okay, now let me get this the size that I'm interested in. This is not where I'm going to put the arm. This one specifically. But I want to get the rest of this stuff in there the way that I think will look good. And then I'll worry about that arm. Okay. Gotta get that arm kind of perspectived. Because, you know, that arm's gonna be going back while this arm is going forward. So gonna do something like that, and she's just kind of leaning over there, and it is great. And I think I want to push her a little further this way, and the hand a little bit further this way. With a more clear bend right here. Or maybe not. Oh, shoot. Hold on, I gotta cough. My daughter's on winter break now, so this means she probably won't take any more viruses home. So maybe I won't be sick for a couple of weeks until she has to go back to school in January. Flu season. Terrible when you have small children. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. Now we got a little hip bump out here, and it'll kind of go into her skirt, and that'll be great. So yeah, I think this works pretty well for the general pose that I'm going for, and I think it's at a pretty good location. Let's see what the rule of thirds says. I can just use the crop tool for that. Okay, I was close. I'll put her face just a little bit further to the left here. There we go. And where does that put her hand, actually? Oh, what do you look at that? That's actually pretty close to another intersection. Heck yeah. perspective tricks. Let's lift it up just a little here. There we go. So she's gonna pull us in, and you know what? It's like symbolic and stuff because I feel like when it comes to Variance Project, that half the point of the talents is to indeed pull you into their world. Ooh. So you know, I actually wasn't too far off in my balcony making here, so I'm just gonna lift it up just a tad. Make it a little flatter there. So something like that should be good, and it'll give me lots of space for a lovely sky. Look, if I'm gonna do something where I can draw space, I want to make sure I have plenty of room for that space. Space is great. Alright. Let's draw a railing. So I want to make sure that her hand is resting on the railing here. As I said, you know, I don't really know what these places look on the outside, but that's fine. I'm just going to make it up. I figure as long as I match the aesthetic, people will be willing to believe me that I know what I'm talking about. That's, you know, kind of a benefit of being an artist is that as long as you can fake it well enough, people are willing to believe you. It's fantastic. And then I'll put some other decorations here, so culturally I don't know what to call this, but I know kind of what I'm thinking. So I should be able to look up reference when the time comes, and I think that this is the kind of thing where it might be nice to have kind of something interesting going on the floor, too. I'm not sure what yet. I think like a mosaic is probably going to be a bit too much, but just a little bit of, like, carving and stuff like that, and maybe I'll put a bench out there or something. Actually, I think I want this railing to be just a tad longer. But just like a little bench or something out there, I think could be kind of cool. So what I'm going to do with this railing is I'm going to somewhat use it to divide these nice little purple cloudy parts with the actual, like, space sky. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, I feel like I've got the gist of where the character's gonna go. I'm just gonna leave it there for now. So let's start adding some of these background elements. And for now, I think keeping the sun there white and glowy totally works for me. Where do I want to put these things? So, okay. I'm just going to describe my thought process a bit here. What I'm thinking about right now is what is going to go behind her head. So, in my head, I can already picture the lighting. It's going to be mostly backlit. I'm going to light the side of her face very strongly because that's the side that's going to be facing the light. And the rest is going to be very shadowed, and I'll probably let some additional light come into her hand and stuff. You know, very, very pretty light things. So I can already picture all of that in my head right now. And right now, what I'm debating is what goes right here behind her head. Is it the sun, or is it the Saturn? I haven't quite decided. So I think to make that decision, I'm going to go look at her actual character design here. And I see that there's quite a lot of white around her. Which might mean that she might be drowned out a little bit if I put something white behind her head. But on the other hand, since I'm going to be backlighting everything, she's going to end up being dark. And having that level of contrast might be nice. And I mean, this is going to be relatively light, but right now I'm kind of leaning the sun. So I think I'll probably end up putting the sun back there. And then I can draw the Saturn just kind of up in the corner somewhere. So that's the current plan. And I kind of like the idea of her having a halo. Because, you know, she's got these cute little angel wings. So having a... she's not an angel, but having a cute little halo would be cute. So... and she definitely strikes me as a cute type. They've got a few different types over there. She's just more of the elegant cute type as opposed to some of the other cute types out there. There we go. So I think I'm gonna go with something like this. Debatably, I might go with something like this, where it just looks like a very literal halo. But right now I'm gonna leave it a little off center. I haven't decided yet. I'll probably end up moving it around. But I know I want something like this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get that nice hot pink. And I'm gonna go put that in there now. Incidentally, I also haven't decided if I want to do a harder or softer shading for this yet. That choice will probably come a little bit later. And that's all well and good. This is a little more purple than I want it to be. So I will make such a decision, you know, when it suits me. Personally, I think that's kind of how art should go. You can... sometimes you can make decisions right off the bat, but when it comes down to it, it's fine to do things when it suits you. Because ultimately, this is my little universe, and I can do whatever the heck I want. And no one can stop me. Okay, so I'm gonna go with something like this. And at some point, I'm gonna blur the edges of that yet, but I haven't decided what I want to do with it yet, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. This is perfectly fine for sketching. Let's go put in the planet. And a lot of these colors will probably change. And that's fine. It's okay. Anyone that's watched me draw before, I tend to be a little bit indecisive for a while. But I just like to get my ideas down and then go from there. Okay, I wanted to try to get that down in a singular stroke for no real reason. It just made me feel good about myself. So there we go. It's very messy. That's totally cool. Nothing has to be very clean yet. Okay, I'm gonna scoot Leia, the sun, all of that just a little bit further to the left here. And I think I'm gonna move the planet just a little bit further to the right here. Okay. Now then, let's see. How does... you know, maybe I should just add a composition helper. Let's do it. Give me my rule of thirds. Okay. There we go. So now I don't have to be messing around with the crop tool to kind of figure things out. Okay, this seems fine. Let's see, I think I'm actually gonna grab all of these and move them just a little bit further to the right here. Okay. Probably a bit premature to be worrying this much about composition, but yeah, you know, I have ideas in mind, so I just want to make sure I have her placed in a way that makes me happy. And I think I'm actually going to move the balcony a little bit to the left as well. Yes. Let this curl around and kind of imply things. Okay. Now then, I'm gonna start getting some of the other background elements in there, so I'm gonna get some of these mountains in. So they got all these lovely little pink highlights, but I kind of want more of a mid-tone. Which unfortunately I think is about the same mid-tone that I use for the planet. So we'll see how that works out. I am not gonna put that many mountains in. So assuming that we're like right here or right here, I think we'd only see just a few mounted peaks kind of coming up like this. And I'll just put some smaller ones over here because I want to. So I don't think we see very many mountains, but I do think we see some rolling clouds. I'm debating on where I want to put my clouds. I think I'm just going to put them on the layer below the mountains. Okay. So we got some shadows cast by the mountains here. You can see that based on the location of the light source here, that we got some long shadows happening. Just due to the angle that this is being hit with. So I think I'll grab this one. I think this will be fine. For now. I'll probably change a lot of these later. And I just want to make these clouds look so puffy. I will probably reference actual clouds at some point. This is fine for now. We'll get a few layers in there. I'll grab a few layers in there. Let's see. Let's see who gets to be on top and who gets to be behind. Let's fluff these guys up just a little bit here. First thing that I felt like I actually had to shade a little bit in order to understand. It can be quite useful. Alright, and plop in a few more, just, you know, wherever it suits me. As always, you know, everything kind of comes down to what just happens to suit me in the moment. I feel like this is doubly true whenever you're drawing clouds. And once again, I still haven't decided if I'm going to be shading this, you know, with hard edges or soft edges yet. So I'm just going to do the hard edges, because those are very easy to read. I think I want to take this one down just a little bit. Maybe a little bit more like this. So I think something like that is probably good for now. And now I'm actually going to start picking some background colors. Instead of, you know, the neutral gray that I just like to start with. I do kind of like the purple sky they got going there. So sure, I'll pick that. And then I'll probably adjust it a bit. And you know what? I should invert the colors on my figure here. Because she's going to be bright. And this will be more accurate compositionally than using black. Because, I mean, look at this design. There is, like, no black on this at all. So, I'll just make her white. And that'll be more accurate to everything else. Okay. So, I like where things are going. So first I'm going to add some basic stars. I'm even going to call them basic stars. I'll just do it in white for now. I can change my mind later. But I've honestly found that Krita's Starfield brush looks fine when you just use white. Unfortunately, they're small, and they I need the texture to be bigger. Okay, let me... I've been able to do it before, but I can never quite remember can never quite remember where I do that. Spray area. Unfortunately, you guys can't see my window, so you're just gonna be kind of staring at things for a bit. It's fine. What are you trying to warn me about? I don't know. There should be something that has, like, a pattern. Scale. Please be larger. Does this do it? No, that's just the brush size. Pain. Okay. Oh no, it wasn't. Yeah, diameter is right there. Aspect ratio is right there. Okay, and I'm fine with everything else. I just want to actually be able to see the stars when I'm zoomed out like this. I can kind of see them. I'd still like them to be a little bit larger, I think. I don't know, can I make the scale even bigger? Perhaps. One moment, gotta cough again. We'll go grab some more water here soon. Man, being sick is terrible. I hate it. I know that there's a way to increase the size of the pattern here. I just can't remember how to do it. I've done it before, but not with this brush specifically. So I'll be a little bit sad if I cannot do it properly. This is probably the best I can do. Don't really care about color or anything. Okay. Yeah, that's probably all I can do. Okay, so this is fine, I think. It's kind of the downside of working on the large canvas. Some things just don't work quite as well, but I think this looks okay. I do like the Starfield brush. It is perfect for anything you want to put glitter on. Life is hard. Okay. So anyway, let's just get some basic stars in there. Let's just get some basic stars in there, and then I want a little bit of glow kind of coming from down here. I think I want this to be somewhere between purple and yellow. So what I'm gonna do is I think I'm just gonna set this to addition. Yeah, I think addition will be a little bit better. And then I'm gonna use a dark yellow. Not too saturated. I never picked this color right, so I don't know why I'm trying so hard. But we will just light up the bottom a little bit here. And I'd want to do this even if I use a harder shading. This part will be soft regardless. I just think a little bit of gradient back there will look really nice. So I'm gonna roll with it. This color is terrible, by the way. But you know what? It's fine. I can fix it. The joy of hue saturation. That's why I was like, you know what? I never get this color right. It's fine. I don't know why I am trying so hard. I could have done this in neon pink and it still would have been about the same for me. It is what it is. Okay, let's pick a better color now. Please glow for me. Yeah, right around there I think is pretty good. Alright. And then the rest of this is gonna be like neat stars and stuff. So the big things I want to make sure I have. They clearly have a couple of important stars in the sky here. So we got this blue one and we got this pink one. So I'm gonna make sure both of those are in there. And then after that, I'll probably do some like Milky Way nonsense because everyone loves Milky Way nonsense. Our sky is beautiful. Okay. So let's get those two special stars in. And then, you know, at some point I'll put in some bigger stars too. But first, let's start with the special stars. And I'm just gonna grab white. Based on this, it's probably a little bit off screen. In fact, it's probably way off screen, but creative liberty, it's fine. I want to make sure I include it, so you know what? I'm even going to put it a little bit lower than this. Just a little something like that, and then the other one somewhere over here. There we go. Okay, and then they're gonna need a little bit of glow too. I'm too afraid to put it on the same layer as the rest of my glow, so I will make a new one for it. Because I am too scared. Okay, nope, I'm gonna pick my own color. This is a bright blue. A very, very bright blue. This is not quite accurate, but it's close enough in my opinion. Okay, and then the other one is kind of a bright pink, so I will use the same color as I did here. And then... Alright, let's adjust these a little. I want that one to be a little brighter. That looks pretty good. And I want this one to be a little bit more purple, actually, I think. Yeah. Yeah, just need to be a little bit more purple. I'll leave that bright pink for the sun. Okay. So somewhere around there. I'll make that look nice later, but right now the basic idea is in, and that's enough. So let's see. From here. We got the special stars. So let's start getting in some lovely Milky Way adjacent stuff. So I'm gonna call that sky clouds, as opposed to, you know, just the regular clouds. The floor clouds. Yes, you will be floor clouds. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on top of that. I'm gonna say kind of true to the shape that they got going here, but for the most part, I'm just gonna be kind of making stuff up. So, you know, don't worry about it. I don't quite know what color I want it to be, so I'm gonna grab this color since I think that will be reflected a lot. And I'm just gonna add... I don't think I can do this with this color yet. So this I'll make soft for now. I still haven't decided if I'm gonna go with hard or soft shading yet, but I can turn this kind of soft stuff into harder stuff if I am so inclined. Or, you know, maybe I'll go with a little bit of both and just leave this part soft. Who knows? Who even knows at this point? So this is going to be a very, very rough for now. Kind of comes up. Very, very rough. I am not going to try very hard to make it look nice yet. Hello there, Kuhaku. Welcome back. And I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I did get distracted by reading about whether or not stars could be pink at the beginning. Okay, so I'm gonna go with something like that. I'll kinda take it back to look a little bit more cloudy. How's all of your art stuff going, Kuhaku? And I think this is probably enough for me to see where I'm going. I think that's a little bit bright, though. I'm going to tone down the saturation a bit and also bring it a little bit more toward purple. Congrats. I like drawing faces. Faces are fun. And yeah, I think I'll just leave it there. Maybe just a few little spots where I think it's going to be like catching the light, and then I can make that look pretty and that kind of thing. But yeah, there's going to be some pretty stuff there. It'll be great. So now I'm going to make another one. I actually think I want the basic stars below that. Good luck. I think the face is actually way harder than the rest of the body. Humans are just so predisposed to scrutinizing faces that everything else is easier. I mean, that said, my art nemesis is arms, so, you know, it's not like the body is easy, but I do think the face is way harder than the rest of the body combined. So if you can do the face, you can definitely do the rest of the body. There's just more room for error to make things look right. Let's see. Once again, I think I'm just gonna start with just white here, and I will tone it down a bit later. Oh, got a cough. Their tubular nature gets me every time. I get rid of opacity jitter for a little bit. I actually do not want opacity shenaniganry right now. Okay. And then I can reset everything after I'm done. Oh yeah, that's so much better. Okay. So I'm gonna have some denser stars through here. I will definitely take this back, but let's just get things down for now. You know what? I want some more size variation, so I'm actually gonna make my brush bigger. Not that much, though. Okay. This should look good once I fix it. Don't worry. You know, I still find arms hard to off-stream today. This was the time where I was wrangling proportions and getting everything into a state where I could render things. And I think a good 2/3 of that time was me just going, no, the arms don't look right. No, the arms don't look right. And then another part of that 2/3 was, no, I don't want the hands to be off screen, but I need her arms doing this, and I need it all to be on screen, and I was driving myself slightly crazy. So, arms ruin everything as far as I'm concerned. You know, I can do hands, but arms, Alright, let's go ahead and make this all look good now. I don't count. And it varies a lot depending on my mood and what I'm drawing. I mean, you have to remember, I used to draw entirely on one layer because I found it easier. And then, after a while, I moved to two, where I'd have the character on one and the background on the other. And Then after a while, I just found it easier to make changes when I had more. So I just use anything that I either want to change a blend mode on. So like I have a thing here set to addition. My head is kind of in the way so you can't see it, but this is set to addition, thus it gets a layer. And otherwise stuff that would be nice to be able to move around, or stuff that would be a pain to paint around. Like the stars here are getting their own layer, because can you imagine trying to paint around that? That would be hell. So I don't want to do that. So I'm not gonna. So that's all I do there. I don't think about it too hard. If I feel like it'd be annoying not to have a new layer, I just make the new layer. It's fine. Let's pick a nice color for these guys. I think I want them to be a little bit more in the yellowy pinks. Yeah, there we go. Maybe color dodge isn't the right one, but... So these guys are getting a blend mode, and right now I'm just picking a color that I think looks nice. So they're going to be kind of in yellow-pink area. And I do not like the blend mode I picked, so I'm going to pick a different one. Okay, some of these things don't have to be planned. I mean, you can. I know that there are a lot of people that plan things right from the start. I am not one of them. I do not think I will ever be one of them. So that's ultimately why I adopted a strategy that would let me be very flexible and change things when I feel like it. And it worked really well for me. I like this method quite a lot. And that is why I no longer draw things on one layer. It is just easier to make changes like this. Hello there, Shinora. Welcome back. I am sick, and you know what? It kind of is what it is when you have small children in flu season. Okay, there we go. That's probably good for now. I might add some brighter ones here. No, because you are text where I see you. And thus, I will never be able to notice anything, really. Alright, I'm gonna draw some smaller, but slightly larger than the basic stars. Ah, I see. Unfortunately, I see neither of those things on my screen while I'm watching chat. I just see text. So... these are not things that I will see. Well, good luck. I hope you're able to do well. These are definitely way too dense. Is there a better way I can do this? I just kind of want a smattering. Okay, time to go mess with the brush again. Gotta back it up here. There we go. Look, it's all I see. I don't see your face, I don't see your profile image, I just see your messages. So as far as I'm concerned, you guys are, you know, just text. but it's okay. I love you anyway. Scatter, that might be useful. Please be super scatter. They're just gonna scatter you everywhere. Rotation, this might be useful. I do not know what fuzzy dab means. Okay, well, let's see if this does what I want. Okay, that's a bit better. Yeah, that's better. That's more what I want. I still have to take it back a lot, but you know what? I approve. And now I can get some nice starry stuff going. We're gonna have a nice, lovely starry sky here. Very important to get it all. Very important to get starry skies looking very starry. So let's pull that back just a little. I don't want it to be too strong. Because then, you know, everything will just kind of get samey, and that'll actually make things less pretty. I do not think I have ever seen a hedgehog in real life. But I am not generally a fan of rodents. So it's probably safe to say that I would not find hedgehogs especially cute. Okay, gonna pull some of this further in here, and I will so have to reset this brush once I'm done with it, but right now it is doing what I want, so I'm quite happy. Just gonna press very, very lightly in some of these spaces back here. A little bit more hard up through here. I think I want a little bit bigger stuff going here. Okay, there we go. I mean, most rodents aren't especially dangerous to humans, so I'm not surprised. The way rodents tend to be dangerous to humans is via carrying disease. So, you know, that's why you don't want rats in your general vicinity. That and they eat your food, but they're probably not gonna hurt you that much. Okay, that should be good for now. I think I can mess with that a little bit more. Hello there, Meep. Welcome back. Okay, so I think I've got all the stuff that I want going on back here at this point. Oh yeah, my foreground curtains. Important. I'm gonna go get those in before I forget. Let's see. I don't know what I want to do with those yet. Yeah. Okay, I have a thought. I'm just going to leave them white and kind of translucent for now. And the idea is that they are blowing out from a door behind the screen here. I've got a blanket, so I'm good. So they're just kind of blowing around from a door out from off screen. I'm just going to stick some stuff in the corner here, and I will let these little curtains flutter. They're just going to be pure white for now. It's all good. And then reduce the opacity. It'll make things look nice and delicate, and then I can put in some lovely lace-like stuff. And it'll be great. So something like that. I think I want to open this side just a little bit more, so maybe bring this a little bit straighter and then kind of roll it around. There we go. And they'll have a little bit more presence later, but I think that this is pretty okay. I think this is doing what I want. And we'll put in some lovely patterns on them in just a bit. Alright, and then for the sake of my voice, I'm gonna go ahead and grab some water real quick. I drank all the water that I had already, so I'm gonna go ahead and get some more. So I will be right back. Give me just a moment. I'm just gonna leave myself up on the screen here, and we can see what kind of funny face I make when I lose tracking. So, be right back. Alright, so it just looked like I was sleeping for a second there. Very appropriate. Okay. Let's see. So I think this is the point where I have the background basically wrangled and all the things that I'm kind of going for here. So, or, you know, at least the first step. Obviously, I still have got a long way to go, but that's fine. So, let's start drawing the character. Alright. So it's gonna be real hard to see anything with that sun going, so we're gonna kill the sun for a moment, it's fine. I'll bring it back later. I'm sure all life on Earth will not die while it's just out of existence for a bit. It's all good. Alright, and... yeah, I think I'm just gonna keep my sketch here. Let's just go ahead and start separating things out. I'm gonna move the head up onto a new layer. There we go, and from there, this is very long. I tend to do that whenever I draw ovals. I make them very, very long. So let's go ahead and squish that down, and now I can start getting her facial features and stuff on there. So, let's see. Does this reference sheet have a color swatch? Yes. Okay, cool. There's skin tone there. Is it? That's probably... No, this is probably your skin tone. But it's really small. Okay. I'm gonna have to pull it from somewhere else. There we go. Yeah, no problem. Okay, there we go. Oh man, that is some extremely pale skin. I'm surprised because her legs do not look that pale. Okay, so this artist must do that thing where they use like almost pure white on the face and then rely on the blush to make it look like skin and make her not look sickly. Alright, well thanks for stopping by. Have a nice rest of your day. Okay, so there we go. Got basic skin tone. And let's do face there. I'm gonna group these because I like having the head in its own group. Sometimes I put the body in a group too. Sometimes I don't. Either way is fine. Okay. She doesn't have much of a chin yet, but I always like just starting with like the nose and the mouth to place the features. I find it a little bit easier to follow. And then I kind of adjust the head around that. So I just kind of want her to have a gentle smile. I think that's mouth is even a little bit too big. Just a very happy but very gentle little smile. So something like that. That's fine for now. Alright. So now we'll get the eyelashes on there. I can tell that I still have her head too long, but that, that's fine. It can be long right now. I'll fix it. I'm still kind of surprised by how sharp her eyes are, given just how generally soft and gentle the rest of the design is. But I can still make the expression very soft and gentle too. Even if her eyes are a little bit sharp. I want them to be reasonably symmetrical. The eyes, that is. It's like I'll have to make them symmetrical someday, so I kind of just like to get it somewhat going. Like, these not symmetrical, but it's close enough. It's close enough. I'm just gonna kind of liquefy the rest here and boop, boop, boop. Try to get the sizing good. Once again, mostly comparing to where I put the nose and mouth. Right now, she's looking a little smarmy, I'm realizing, so I'm going to bring down the corner of her mouth here. There we go. I just had it a little bit too high. The angle of her face and all that. It's still a little bit off, but I'm going to go ahead and start putting in her chin. And, everything's disconnected from her body. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It'll get better later. But right now, I just kind of need to feel out where all the stuff is gonna go. I'm always very impressed by people that can just sketch things out right away. I am not one of those people. I get the general gist of what I'm going for, and then I just start carving. As you can see right now, compared to the rest of her body, it is tiny. That's fine. Right now, I'm just trying to get the features relative to each other. Because necks are highly inconvenient, and I like working on things one piece at a time. Trying to keep everything connected stuff a nightmare, so I just split things up and work on things piece by piece, and I made her face way too long. I do that a lot. I mean, you notice on my own character design, I have a relatively long face as anime girls go. So let's kinda fix that a bit. I think this eye is actually a little bit too big. There we go. Okay, and now I can fix her nose. Look, she's just got this cute little squishy face, and this face is not squishy enough. I do think it is relatively cute, but it is not squishy. So, I will make it squishy. And the big way to do that is to bring the nose closer to the eyes, and the mouth a little bit closer to the nose. I'm not going to give her a giant chin, though. I'm going to lift that up a little bit, and now I can kind of get the rest of the shape of the face right. That chin is still too big, you know, don't worry about it. See, this is why I like to worry about the proportions relative to everything on it first. It just makes things way less complicated. And now I know where a lot of these features should go, and so I can, when I'm ready to put it on her body, I can just do this. Whee! And ta-da! Got a nice head. See, not worth worrying about at all. Okay, I want to get some shadows in there to help me feel out the rest of the stuff here, and I'm going to give her some eyebrows too while I'm at it. Alright, and I'm just going to leave them black for now. They're just going to be black for now. I will change their color later. I do not feel like the colors here, for this part specifically, really matter that much. I probably didn't even need to give her eyebrows right now, but I felt like it, so... You know what? Sounds good to me. Let's go ahead and pick some colors. Okay. This one looks good to me. And so now I can kind of think about where all the shadows on here are going to go. And like I said, things are backlit. So my primary light source is going to be that big light back there. But I also do picture there being small lights, like on the outside of this wall that is off screen. Like, you know, where these curtains are connected. So I'm actually still gonna just do my basic lighting from the front, and then I'm gonna do some strong, dramatic, atmospheric lighting at the end. My god, drawing those braids is gonna be hell. Oh well. So, let's see. I'm just gonna do basic shadows to help me figure out 3D-ness of face. You know, whatever helps me out here. Alrighty. I think something like that is probably sufficient. I will probably just make the nose entirely a shadow here, but for now I'm gonna leave the black line there because it helps me. And we will just make her face very soft. And right now, I think her face needs to be a little squishier still. So I'm going to adjust those proportions a little bit more. We're going to make her chin just a little bit smaller here. Just a little bit smaller. And this is not going to be like BB. I want her to be nice and soft looking. So there we're going to be many a curve. There's going to be many, many curves. Okay. And that should be fine for now. So let's go start plopping some hair on there. The braids are going to be long sticks for a while because, man, it's going to take a little while to draw all that, especially since she's got gradient hair going on here. Okay. She doesn't have gradient hair up at the top, does she? That's just lighting, right? Yeah, okay, cool. So I assume that this is her hair color. Alright, so I'm gonna pay close attention to those bangs. And, one moment, I gotta cough again. Ah, much better. Okay. So I'm gonna wrap those bangs around her forehead here. And she has the big middle bang going on. Goes right down kind of between her eyes. And I will want this to sway in the wind a little bit, but I want to kind of get the general shape going before I worry about that. And I see that the way this curves around her face, it does not overlap with her cheek. I see some like loose strands on her cheek, for example. But for the most part, it wraps around her entire chin, actually. So I will make sure to get that. Okay. And I just did a bunch of hair drawing off stream today too, so I am totally in a state where I can understand how hair works. Alright. No. This is too loud. So let me do the multiply. So generally, I do like using overlay in a dark purple to help me pick shadows. But there are times where I just don't think it works very well. And one of those times is just when the color gets like ridiculously saturated. So it just becomes extremely bright. And I just don't think it looks very good. So that tends to be when I like to use a very light, kinda grayish purple, highly desaturated purple. But regardless, I pretty much always use purple for my shadows and yellow for my highlights. And then I just kind of mix it into colors there. Strictly speaking, this is not, like, correct, quote-unquote. But I really like the way it looks, so I don't care. It's how I roll. Maybe I should do this with multiple layers. Nah, it's fine. Okay. So we'll have a hair coming out here. So I'm looking at this guy here, so he's gonna come down toward the chin again. This one doesn't actually, like, cover her eyes. This one doesn't either, but I like this, so this is fine. So I'm gonna send it out at a little bit of a sharper angle here. Till it comes down to her chin. And this strand is a bit thinner. Okay, and now I can color it properly. Alright, and then underneath here, we have the strand kind of going back behind her ears. Let's see. I think I need to make this a little bit longer. Her forehead is a little bit big. So it's going to look a little bit silly for just a second, but I think I can make it work. And we are seeing her from a little bit from below. So I do want to make this part here, where you can kind of see that it goes up and around like that. I want to make that a little bit more open. Because that'll make it a little bit more clear that we are seeing her from below. So the opening will be larger and the little bit on top will be a little smaller. Hello there, Blood Bullet. Welcome back. I got a cough. Alright. And so this guy is going to be kind of receding into the background there, so I kind of want to get that in. I'll make it a little bit flatter right here to kind of show the perspective. I'm still keeping things pretty loose, though. I just want to make sure I'm accurate. And I'm not worried about all the lovely little loose strands just yet. That will come much later. Much, much later. Okay, now I feel like this bit of hair is a little bit more proportionate. Looking a little bit better there. Gotta go ahead and color it properly. There we go. I still think that this strand here is sufficiently thick for what it's doing. And then this is where her braids will start to come out, and I will probably draw most of those later. Okay, so it starts coming out here. Then we get the first, like, braid bump there. And that's fine for now. I think it's kind of starting to look like her. I still got a lot to do with the hair, but let's go ahead and do the back of her hair here. So I'm gonna group all of this. And we will get the Leia group. And a braid layer. This will become body layer. Alright, I'm just going to leave them this purple for now, so that they will continue over here, and I want them to kind of just gently blow this way. Even that's like way too horizontal. Something like that. Nah, I don't like it. Let's try that again. I'm going to zoom in a little. I actually think the shape is pretty important. Because this will determine a lot of the atmosphere of the whole picture. No, I don't like it. So maybe I want it to come out and around. Yeah, that's pretty nice. That's a little better. Then the braid on this side will kind of come out and around like this, I think. Do I want it to... Yeah, I think I want it to be over her arm. Not overlapping with the balcony. And just for my own reference, we got the big braid here. And then it'll get smaller as it goes out. There we go. And that is sufficient for the time being. So here we have the big braid here. It's going to kind of come out. Go kind of around here. And that is sufficient for now. So right now it feels like it's attaching a little bit unnaturally here. I do think that's fairly easy to fix though. And then if I go back to her original hair layer, now I can start getting, you know, a few little loose strands in there so that this way the hair doesn't look quite so unnatural. Let's see, I don't think I have this angled quite correctly. I want this to be coming over her head just a little bit more. And I'll just plop in the shadows whenever I need a clarification. Or, you know, just whenever I feel like it. No, for an anime girl, her hair is surprisingly out of her face. I'm realizing. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I think that's probably good for now. Let's see. I do feel like this eye is a little bit big still. And that's good news, because that means that her hair will still be out of her face. Even with the changes I made. That's how things should be. Alright, well, this is going pretty well, I'd say. So, let's start getting into the body. Actually, yeah. I'm gonna get into the body before I do her accessories. So the veil and stuff, I think that'll come once I have her body looking pretty okay. Because, I don't know, accessories are extra. That's also why I haven't drawn her glasses. Or her eyes, for that matter. Her eyes are basically accessories, right? Yeah. Man. Ah, flu season. Okay. So, you know, as always, I fear YouTube. So I'm just gonna keep drawing like this. And I think that if she's just like pure... Yeah, let's make it black again. So if she's just like pure black, I don't think YouTube will yell at me, right? Like, this should be safe. So I'm gonna start kind of sculpting the general body and whatnot here. We'll get her hand going on the railing there. Some of these I might divide into separate layers, some of them I might not. You know, who knows at this point. It's always a bit of a mystery to me, too. Alright, I'm gonna actually go into her back hair here, and I just want to kind of fill everything in for the moment. Not actually sure if that's how it'll look at the end, but it's useful for now. It'll let me see where her neck and shoulders are a little bit more clearly. Right now, I don't like how forward that lean is. I want it to be much more relaxed. And if that means I have to push the railing a little closer to her, that's fine. Okay, so that's part of her actual hair. That's fine. But right now, I feel like she's moving a little bit too hard. Okay, let me get the width of her shoulders in before I start worrying about that, because right now they look a little skinny, And her shoulders, you know what the arms will actually connect to? So if I end up pushing her shoulders a little bit further to the side, then in theory, her arms will move to the side too. And maybe that'll make him look a little bit more relaxed. We'll see. So this I drew with the dress in mind. I'm going to get rid of that for the time being. And let's see here. So chest is about there. Okay, no, she does have boobs. Okay. Not flat. So that would put her waist, like, right through here. Hard to tell if she has hips under that dress, but I'm just going to assume yes. So I will get those in there. All right. Okay, sure. I'll use purple for this. It's fine. I thought I had white, but fortunately the color that I used to help me understand what the hell is going on here, not important. Because all of this is going to have its color change at some point. Okay. And I think I'll put on a separate layer. And that I can actually use the skin tone with. So, you know, that's fantastic. So let's see. What is this hand doing? I think it's doing something like this. So let's get my shovel in there. And we'll see this side of the fingers. Or this side of the palm. It's kind of coming towards us. I think it's probably going to be bigger than this, but it's not really important yet. Okay, and I want the fingers kind of splayed. And then I can get the middle ones. Okay, hold on. One pointed away, so this side is where the index finger is. I had to check to see which side of the hand the thumb was on here, because I always get it backwards. Always. So I just got in the habit of double checking. And so this is the index finger, this is the pinky, the thumb will be over here. Because it is pointing away from the body when I do it like that. But I make that pose myself. Okay, so then fingers. Yay. This is not nearly happy enough. I'm go back. The thumb is fine. The thumb can be there. Okay. Let's try that again. So we have the finger splayed outward. It's pinky. It needs to go harder. Okay. Pinky going harder. Perfect. And then it'll come out. I'm kind of making it look like they're bending a little bit, because that's just how you make things look super energetic when you do hands. You bend them unnaturally. It's like the best thing. So we'll break her fingers a little bit. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It'll be useful. Okay. Okay, and one more, and I don't feel like getting the thumb on there yet, so this'll have to do for now. It's too small, but that's fine. Oh man, my throat is just not agreeing with me today. One moment. Man, I was so hopeful because my throat was doing so much better. But then it's like I get here, I start talking, and my throat is just like, no. No talking aloud. I'm gonna make you just choke to death on phlegm. Have fun. I am not having fun. No, that's not true. I'm having fun drawing, but I'm not having fun with the phlegm. The phlegm can go away. Anyway. But the hand looks good enough for now. So, you know what? I can be happy with that. Let's go ahead and make it a little bit more perspective. And then there's like a thumb doing thumb things. And nobody knows what is going on with the thumb, I swear. But there we go. It's a hand. It works for me. Let's make it a little bigger even. Let's really just shove that thing forward. We're gonna shove it right into the viewer's face. Where is my third grid? So yes, I want it right about there. Perfect. Okay. For the record, don't feel like you have to use any compositional shenanigans. It can be useful when you're not quite sure what you want to do, or when you have a general idea of where you want things to go, and you're just angsting over the placement a little bit. Then it can be useful. But you know, frankly, if it feels good, it's probably fine. Just I know developing that intuition can be kind of a pain, and it can take a little while. But it's okay. It'll come if you keep trying. So there we go. If I make this arm perspective-y, then it should do what I want. And I think I want the elbow to be a little bit higher, actually. Boop. Boop. Okay. There we go, and that should do it. And this is gonna look excellent with her sleeves. So much so that I actually want to draw them like right now. So, you know what, let's do it. Let's see, this looks like the color I want, so I don't know if I want this to be above or below the hand. How do I want to do it? Okay, I don't think it matters. So I'll put it below for now. And we are just gonna do a nice little puffy opening here. And do they pinch at the sleeves, at the elbow? Yes, they do. Okay. So the reason that this is gonna work great is just because they are very open. The sleeves, they're very, very open. So that means that I can show the foreshortening by letting you see inside the sleeve. And then on this side, I'm gonna get to do something, you know, like this, where you don't see inside the sleeve, and that'll make it clear that the hand is going away. It's kind of funny how that works out. And this one I'm gonna make much more relaxed on her hand, so it's gonna like drape, and we'll get something like this. And that'll come up into the elbow wherever I decide to put it. Okay. I will handle the purple frills later. This is sufficient for now. Alright, let's go back to fixing the rest of the body. Right now, she is not proportionate. I think her chest needs to be a little bit lower. Let's see, about how many heads tall is she? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So about 6. If you ever wonder why I don't say proportions matter for beginners that much, just look at how, or not proportions, but anatomy. I mean, just look how wrong, like, every good anime artist gets it. Or how much they stretch it. It's like, you know what? Especially if you want to be drawing anime, don't worry about it. Just roll with what you think looks good, and eventually you'll kind of figure it out. Because you can, especially with stuff like anime, you can kind of fake it to an extent. Alright, so I'll kind of get the other shoulder in. I do think that arm looks a little bit more relaxed now. In fact, I think I should probably make that sleeve a little bit shorter. I still haven't decided if this is going to be a clothes layer or if it's going to be for the sleeve alone. So that's why I haven't named it yet. We'll just send it all the way back there. And in fact, I think I want that hand more like here. That'll change where that sleeve goes. That's why I had to hide it for a second. Lift it up, and then this is not curved enough. Look, if you're gonna mess around with perspective like that, you really gotta sell it. Just convince people that that hand is going so far back. So I'm gonna curve the sleeve heavily. There we go. And we will not see very many of these purple frills there. They're gonna be kind of hiding underneath. But this is fine for now. Where was I? Right, trying to figure out proportions of the body. Her shoulders are decently narrow, but I still feel like shoulders I got here are a little bit too narrow. And then I'm just looking up here, you know, whenever it suits me. Whenever I feel like I just need a little bit more guidance. Or something. Okay, then her belly button should probably be like right about there. So that'll be the narrow part of her waist. So let's make sure that part is pretty narrow. We got a rib cage going on down there somewhere. I can see it. It's like, kind of like this. Anywho. I don't really want her legs to be in this picture. So as it stands, I'm probably going to make her a little bit bigger. I'm never quite sure how to handle certain things here. So I just kind of got to feel it out. This is why I draw in blobs. I find it easier to just kind of feel it out. Okay, so hips should come out here. And it's going to be kind of like that, where that's where the leg comes out. And then over here, it's going to be like this way. So let's try to get the hip in there well. A little bit lower than that. A little bit lower than that. And then, you know, the only reason I'm drawing this is just so I know where to put the dress when the time comes. The dress is gonna be basically become the body. But this will make it easier for me to know where to put things when the time comes. When the time comes, and I do think I want this shoulder to angle downward just a little bit more there. Okay, yeah. This is looking all right. I think the body needs to come out a little bit further. And we are gonna see, like, most of the bottom there, so I want to make sure that I shape things accordingly. So kind of like that. That works for me. Hello there, Polterine. Welcome back. Okay. Okay. Figuring it out. I think she's actually a little bit bigger than this, so... Gotta make him a little bit lower there. This side should be on top. Come back up in there. Okay. We have one leg going that way, one leg going that way. I think I have her... Do I have her waist at a good spot? It might be a little bit low. Or a little bit high, excuse me. Maybe right here. And then I can start bringing out the hip. Having to think a lot. Proportions are hard, okay? You know, this is why I always say... If you're having a hard time, you're not alone. I still kind of have to pull shenanigans to get through. And paint many an extra thing just to understand what it is I'm trying to do. And you know what? I get the feeling it'll always be that way. Okay, so I do need to lower the hips a little, and that suits me fine. Like I said, I don't really want her legs in this picture. So, this is fine by me. Let's go ahead and start attaching the hips again. This would be where the leg would come out if I was going to draw legs. Okay. So there we go. I think I got something going here. She's looking maybe a little bit skinny. Maybe just a little. I keep wanting to put her hip a little higher. Gotta stop that. It just, basically I'm trying to follow the angle that I feel like the pose is going, so her shoulder's going across here, head going across there, and I feel like her hip should actually be doing something more like this. So, I keep wanting to raise this one and make it go like this, but I think it actually looks better a little bit more like this. So, the one that should be higher, the hip that should be higher is this side. In general, it looks nice when all of your body parts are not going in the exact same direction. So if I was gonna do it like that, let's start rolling things here. So we're gonna have something a little bit more like this. Okay, I can see it. And then there's going to be a pinch in her stomach here. So I can emphasize that a little bit more. And that should make things look nice. And that's probably enough. And you know what? I think I'm just going to put the dress all on one layer here. So let's make the sleeve tight going up. Okay, now let's figure out how this dress actually works. Fortunately, it's not, like, especially complicated or anything. So it looks like it just goes tight around her body until right below the bust there. There's this little, like, vestibit sitting on top. But I'm not real worried about that yet. How does the collar look? It is a turtleneck. Alright. I don't think I am showing enough of the neck. I also think the body is a little too small, so let's look at the hand too. Okay, that's a little bit better. Relationship advice? You can try. Okay, because on the one hand, I've been married for almost 10 years, but on the other hand, I never dated. Because literally, I met this guy, I liked him, and we've been together ever since. So, I may or may not be able to help. At the very least, I'm not bothered. I will do my best. Alright, let's pick a nice color here. I get the feeling I am gonna want to use multiply instead of overlay here, but yeah, I had a feeling. Because man, that is a very light white. I'm gonna be able to play with the colors here a little bit, and I think that'll be fun. But it is not yet time. Right now, I just gotta make sure I understand everything that's been going on. I think I want something a little bit lighter. Not quite there. Still not quite there. I want this dress to look nice and delicate, so I don't want the color to be too strong. And I think that color is pretty good. So let's see. We're gonna have a shadow kind of underneath the chest here. And there's an opening on the side, which I think is gonna be like at this angle, like right about here. So let's go ahead and get that in there. Thought I unlocked you. Okay. So there we go, and I want it to flutter a little bit. So let's send it out a little bit this way. And then close it off a little bit this way. And that should give me a nice little flutter. And then I can give it just a little bit more flutter just right here. It looks like these are like firmly attached together. So I don't want it to flutter too much. But I think a little bit of flutter will look very nice. I'll go ahead and get the underdress in there now. You know, as always, I fear YouTube. So I am hopeful that everything being black and not skin tone will make it clear that there is nothing suspicious going on here. There we go. But nonetheless, I still fear YouTube. I will always fear YouTube. It could mean a lot of things. My suggestion, would be to let them, well, no, I can't even say that. I mean, there's lots of things it can mean. Have they told you to, like, not contact them or anything, or that they need to be left alone for a little while, or anything like that? But I don't think there's any inherent meaning in it. And it also depends on what you mean by ignores. Like, are they... Are you in the same room? They talk to other people. You go up and talk to them, and they don't respond to you. Or are you sending them a text, and they are not responding within 24 hours or something? Because those are very different things. Context, very important here. Okay. Let's see here. So I'm going to try to get some of the folds in the dress in here. I think that's pretty okay. And then I can kind of carve things out as I see fit. You know, for a while I thought she looked way too skinny, but now I think she's looking a little bit thick through the middle here, so... maybe I was worried about too much. It's okay. Worrying about unnecessary things is very in character for me. But no, I think she's looking pretty good. I think she's looking pretty alright there. It was worth going through the little bit of extra effort to figure out where things really needed to go. So now I can kind of cut things off here. I'll still keep this part in. The rest I will erase. All right. Actually, I don't think there should be that much of a fold there. The fold should be mostly on this side, because that is how she is twisting. And yeah, unfortunately, it's like, in order to give proper advice, I would need a huge amount of context. I'm not sure if you want to give that much context, and you know, I totally don't blame you if you don't. Let's get that neck in there a little bit better. I do not feel like it is really connected to her shoulders right now, and that's kind of bad. You want your neck connected to your shoulders. It's more useful that way. Much, much more useful. Okay. And so, I'm just gonna, It's a turtleneck, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and let it be the neck for now. At some point, I'll cut off the top and make sure I have a proper neck there. But for now, I'm just gonna let it be the neck. I think that is perfectly fine for the time being. It saves me the trouble of derping around another layer while I am trying to feel out her body. But no, I think I'm quite happy with this pose and the way she looks and her relative proportions. I don't know, her head might be a little bit big now, but that's like the only complaint I have. There we go, that's looking pretty alright. I do think her shoulders look a little bit more natural like that. You know, just trying to get into the arms because they are my nemesis. Arms, man. Arms are, you know, by far the hardest part of the body to draw for me. I don't know what it is about them, but their tubular nature just gets to me every time. Every single time. And right now I do kind of feel like the perspective on the arms, on this one mostly, I think this one's okay. But this one especially just feels very wrong, like it feels very short still. Sometimes I think I have more trouble with the receding arm than I do the one pointing at us. I've gotten pretty good at doing this kind of thing. I think this sleeve might still be a little bit small. I'm gonna go ahead and make it a little bit bigger. I mean, those sleeves are super freaking poofy. So I'm gonna go ahead and make that a little bit larger. And we'll see where it goes. Let's see, I kind of want to put... these sleeves are big enough that I think I want to put a little bit of flutter into them too. So let's see. I'm gonna kind of erase around here. I don't want it to overlap with her... actually, you know what? I kind of do want it to overlap with the rest of her dress. So, you know, let's put a little bit of shadow through here. And I think I'm gonna make this... put the sleeve on a separate layer. Just so that this way I can have it overlap and be nice. I think that might actually be pretty cool. So let's go check it out. Let's see what happens. So I'll let it kind of flop on over here. Wrap back around this way. So something like that. And then I'll just put this entire side in shadow for now. I have the layer locked. I can do what I want. It'll be great. Dude, I love drawing puffy sleeves like this with foreshortened hands. It's great. It is so much fun. I'm doing it in the picture that I'm drawing off stream too. So, you know, it's fantastic. And I always think that it looks really good, and it is just so easy to do. You know, thinking about it, I did it with Malice on the last drawing that I was doing too. So, yeah, you can tell that it's something I like to do. Okay, let's go get the frills in there so I can fill in this gaping hole that's bothering me. Let's see, what's a reliable color here? Dude, be yourself is like the most terrible generic relationship advice that you can get. But like, dude, in order for me to actually be able to give you any kind of advice at all, I gotta know what you're trying to do. So, that is why I have not really been able to say anything, unfortunately. Ah, shoot. I had both layers selected there. Oh yeah, even at the most basic form, it's like, are you trying to talk to a girl you like, or are you already dating the girl? Like, what do you want to do here? Or I'm assuming girl. I guess it may not actually be a girl. You can specify gender if you want. Otherwise, just know when I say girl, I mean whatever gender you're talking about here. Alright, so these frills are actually kind of sitting on the end here. So this means I'll have to change this at some point, but you know what? This is fine for now. I'm just gonna leave it there. So let's go back to trying to figure out what the heck is going on with this here. Because I am so not satisfied with anything back there. Everything feels wrong. And it sucks because everything else is looking really, really good. And then I just see this arm and I'm just like... It is deeply unfortunate. Okay. So I'll go ahead and clear the body parts that I don't need anymore. And now, let's try to get that sleeve onto that. I'm going to start on the sleeve end instead of the shoulder end. So, just feeling out what's wrong. I do feel like the arm is a little bit too skinny. It should be normal width over here and then get skinnier as it goes down here. Because, you know, that's what perspective does. So, what do? Okay. That always does make things complicated. It does, unfortunately. Okay. So, do you see each other on a regular basis? Like, are you friends, or is her friend always with you whenever you're together? And what did your friend or her friend, as the case may be, did she say why she introduced you to her? That's why I say relationships are complicated. That's why you gotta have lots of context. It is unfortunate, but it is very necessary. Okay, I think I know what to do here. I am actually just going to erase this entire sleeve. Well, no, I really can't yet. I need to know where the shoulder goes. Okay, I want to attach this arm a little bit better too. I feel like the shoulder's still a little bit off. Let's lift the arm up just a little bit there. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, if you guys are doing stuff together, then, you know, that makes sense. That's also why I'm like, okay, do you normally only see each other when the whole group is together, or do you do stuff on your own? You know, stuff like that. Okay. All right. Let's see. I gotta stop procrastinating on that other on that other arm. Okay. I know what I gotta do though. So I'll leave that part there for now, but I gotta move the sleeve itself to a different layer. No, I'm just gonna erase it. What's here is wrong. Okay. So I am going to... I know what I want to do here, so... I'm gonna try to keep it as uncomplicated as possible for myself. And we are going to... point the circle in the direction it needs to go. Easier said than done, unfortunately. So I want this to be coming kind of this way. It is completely pointed away from us. And currently this makes no sense with how I have the rest of the arm drawn, but that's fine. I kind of expected that. I completely expected that. As you know, like I said, I've been saying for a while now that everything about this arm is wrong, and I need to feel it out and fix it. Okay, and just make my life a little bit easier, I'm gonna go ahead and put the frills on the end here. We are not gonna see very much of them. Not very much at all. Because they are gonna be mostly covered up. There we go. So now that is all pointed in the correct direction. I can kind of adjust the hand a bit. I want it to be sitting out. Okay, but generally when you see her, it's because the group is there. Not because you're out, like, I don't know, participating in whatever hobby or whatever it is. Or, anything else. Yeah. Okay. So at that stage... I'd say at that stage, it's probably weird to go on confession. You kind of have to see... yeah, it probably would be a little weird to say something. At that point, it's just kind of a matter of... How do I say this? I'd say you, for one, you probably do want to grow your relationship with the entire group. Not, you know, not romantically, of course. And, you know, be friendly with everyone and do stuff with everyone when appropriate. And that kind of thing. Make sure that you'll still have friends there. And as you do so, just keep interacting with the girl and feel out how I guess it is safe to say how she feels about you. Like, it may not necessarily be romantic right away. That's pretty normal. And I can tell you that for a lot of girls, being nice to you is not a sign of romantic interest. It's just how girls are. They're probably going to be nice in general. And it's really hard to say exactly when would be a good time to mention something. But I will say that when you decide the time is right, make sure you are calm. Don't just, go full flood on confessing feelings. That'll be a little bit awkward. And, just be very casual about it. when the time is right. And I wish I could say more about when the time is right. I really do. But it's always really, really tough to say. It is. It's really, really, really hard to know exactly when. And I'm probably the last person that can tell you when, because, I mean, when I was the person that made the first move with my husband, and it was done. We met online, so we would just do stuff online, and for me, it was done in a fit of insomnia, where I just blurted it out in DMs, basically. We were using IRC because, we were old, and we use ancient technology, and I wanted to die afterward. I was super embarrassed. So, don't worry, man, I know, it's rough out there. And I think it's even harder now than it was, when I met him. And I will say, to an extent, it's not really a matter of keeping secrets. It's just... You don't want to scare her. And I've also been on the other end of that. What I'm saying is, it's just like, oh my god, I've been, watching you for so long. I've just been... And my every time I come near you, my heart feels like it's going to explode, and I just love everything you do, and you're just fantastic and wonderful, and no. That'll be weird, and that'll be immediately overwhelming. It shouldn't really be a, stark confession. If you just unload all your emotions on her, she will panic. I can almost guarantee it. The way women talk to each other, for as emotional as women, I'm sure, seem to people sometimes. Oh, no, it's definitely going the other way. And for as much as women seem to talk about feelings, women do not actually unload on other women very often. They do it gradually, smallly, with small things. So... don't let the feelings build up in your chest until they explode. Don't explode all over the girl. Because let me tell you, I've been on the other end of that. I was a girl that grew up liking chess and video games. Pretty much all of my major hobbies were male-dominated. So I knew lots of guys that had romantic interest in me, and... come high school, that's when I said I finally realized that I was in fact a girl. Before then, it didn't really matter. But, oops, no, don't edit the selection. It's fine. So, you just gotta be careful. When the time comes. It sounds like the time has not yet come. Because, there's gonna be... Okay, that'll help. Probably don't read them out loud, but, you know, writing it down to help get it out of your chest is very helpful. I think that's a very good idea. Don't let the girl see it, ever. But, very useful for your own purposes. If anything, it can be, you know, if the relationship works out, it can be a funny thing that you show down the line. But, reading it out loud... I'm not saying that, you know, it's necessarily cringe. I haven't read it. But I do know that when I tend to write things down in the heat of the moment, that my feelings tend to be very, very strong. When I'm just doing a ramble to myself. And... it can be a bit much for other people to handle. So, you know, you write it down and then you kind of taper it to something a little bit more manageable. I swear, someday I will be able to figure out the perspective on this. Someday, man. Alright, let's put in the folds that I think are going to exist. I'll just put this layer on top for now. It's gonna be kind of like this. I don't quite know how it connects to the elbow. So I'm trying to figure out how to describe when you know the time is right to say something. And unfortunately, it's like all contextual. Are you seeing each other in person or is it online? Because unfortunately, with all these things, it is all very esoteric and difficult. Extremely. In person. Okay. So you'll at least be able to kind of see, like, if she's ever just looking over at you, or, you know, something along those lines. Or if, how to say... Oh, that's the sleeve. I need the dress. Here we are. I don't know, she laughs at your jokes, or something. You know, you can kind of at least see that kind of thing happening. As opposed to, you know, just kind of guessing. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna be able to tell you when the time is right. That's unfortunately something you're just gonna have to, like, get. But, I mean, if she's, when in the group, if she's, like, not wanting to talk to anyone, that kind of suggests to me that maybe she's not interested in what's happening at all. So... But again, it's hard for me to say. You have to remember, I am old. When I was talking to people in person, we didn't have cell phones. So... I don't know what the social dynamics are like now. There is only so much I can say. But that was just a couple of examples of things you can look for. Like, is she looking over? Or, I don't know. Like I said, I dated one person my entire life. I met him online. And we got married. And I guess, though, when I asked him out, I wanted to die. I wanted to die in real life. Like, I was so embarrassed. I did it in a fit of insomnia. Because I couldn't sleep. Because stuff happened. It's a long story. And I knew that I was not going to be able to sleep until I said something, so I just blurted it out, and fortunately it worked out for me. It's pretty great. I like it. It's, you know, I get to spend every day with a pretty cool dude. So, I wouldn't have it any other way. It's something that I very much just... I knew back then that, you know, if I spent the rest of my life with this person, I'd be happy. So, rolled with it. No regrets there at all. So, I'm still glad it worked out, because I think one thing that people have to remember when it comes to relationships, especially romantic ones, is that we're all clumsy and stupid, and, you know, if things work out in 20 years... You'll be able to say, holy shit, that was cringe. Because it makes you super freaking cringe, just in every way possible. But, I don't know, as far as I'm concerned, that's the sign I was doing it right, so... Worked out. I am so glad it worked out, man. I am so glad it worked out. But still, you need some sign that there's actual interest there. Otherwise, you know, like I said, I was on the other end with my hobbies being generally male dominated. I ruined. You know, people talk about the horrors of the friend zone. They don't talk about the girlfriend zone, where suddenly the other person, just basically stops talking to you. And, you know, I don't blame them. Having unreciprocated feelings is really, really painful. And that happened to me a lot. Where, you know, I'd suddenly just lose a friend because I was not interested at all romantically in them. And, you know, they just couldn't have it any other way. It sounds bad. I make it sound more insulting than I intended there, I think. But no, legit. 100% no judgment. Having unreciprocated feelings is really painful. And, you know, in that case, not really being able to talk to me anymore, I totally get it. It just sucks for everyone involved. God, this still looks terrible. Can I bring the elbow up a little? Yeah, I still want that part of the sleeve to go down. It's gonna be, like, behind everything else going on here. Okay, I'm gonna go draw the thing that sits on top here and see how much I have to care about these things. How far does that go down? Unfortunately, it does not go down to the elbow, but I'll still draw it. I think I'm just gonna make the whole thing the gold trim. And then I'll make it white when the time is right. But I think that'll be easier than trying to, like, draw everything in white right now, because everything is white in this design. Okay, so it hangs off her chest. What does that look like? We got, like, a brooch there, it looks like. Yeah, this thing. Is it attached to it? I do wish the image I had was a little bit higher quality. I think it does. So. Okay, I'm gonna go look up some more images of her just because otherwise I need to get that part specifically. I need to know how they connect. Where am I going? Okay. Okay, so it's got like some straps that go over it. It does connect at the brooch. Or no, that's a necklace, isn't it? It does connect there, though. That's okay. Being awkward isn't the end of the world. I consider myself pretty awkward. But here I am. Still married. It's fine. You can kinda... I mean, to an extent, you can learn social cues. Okay, I think I see how this works now. So, I think the vestments are actually part of the turtleneck. And then... one moment, gotta cough. But don't worry, relationships are hard, man. Romantic or otherwise. Romantic just adds another layer of, oh my god, I'm going to die in real life to it. Because they are just a little bit stronger. In some cases, a lot stronger. Man, I just do not have very clear images of her shoulders. Okay. But the way I see it... I'm not going to draw the brooch yet, but I'll leave the layer in. So we have it kind of coming off the center of her chest here. Something like this. It meets up in the middle, right about there. I'll just let it kind of come off like that. There we go. And then... okay. The unfortunate truth is that at some point you're gonna have to learn. You can't really live life on your own. Not in modern society. I don't mean that you have to, you know, have a romantic relationship. You can get by just fine without that if you don't want one. But at some point you're gonna have to have things like an employer or what have you. So... unfortunately, it is just kind of the thing that you will have to learn, and it's easier to learn these things when you're young. So I do highly recommend just forcing yourself to go out and do things with people when convenient. Have all the interpersonal relationships. I keep telling myself that a lot too, because I am very shy. So don't worry, I'm with ya. Yeah, like I said, I would highly advise against reading the stuff you wrote down to her. Like, I'm sure it sounds wonderful and romantic, but yeah, you gotta be careful. This is why I don't like the relationship advice of just be yourself. Because, I mean, what does that even mean, for one? But for two... You have to keep the other person in mind, and you have to respect their feelings. And, like, you shouldn't be... You don't want to be wearing a mask or anything. You don't want to pretend to be something you're not. You don't want to lie to them. All that is true. These are all very true things. The truth will come out eventually, whether you like it or not. But at the same time, romantic feelings are very, very strong. And sometimes they can be a little bit scary to the other person. And so you gotta keep their feelings in mind as well. Okay, so I think something like that'll be accurate once I make it not gold, but I don't want to make it not gold yet. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. And unfortunately, I don't think that really helped me with the awkward arm. If anything, it made it even more awkward. Okay, I don't think I can handle that arm this stream. I'll probably do it next stream. So I don't really want to get into a lot of shenanigans here, so I'm just gonna work on her face for a little bit. Yeah, let's go do some face. I feel like doing some of her face. So let's go get her eyes in there. I'm not really gonna clean anything yet. As always, I never trust myself drawing a thing and rendering the thing in the same day. Never. But I can start getting these things that I'm gonna have to put in at some point. Let's just get her eyes in. And we'll just make things look very nice. I'll just leave it slightly pink this time. That sounds... Looks a little cross-eyed there, so I'm gonna kind of adjust the gaze a little bit here. So let's see. This is always why I like to draw the eyes in perfect circles, so that this way I can move them around as much as I want. It's something I actually learned while learning how to rig models. And I was just like, you know, I used to, like, erase things and stuff, but by using proper clipping masks and what have you, I can move them around very freely. And then I can adjust the gaze very easily, and it's very nice. So, I just always do that now. And I like it a lot. I don't think I'm quite ready for some of those accessories. Those accessories are quite something, aren't they? I guess I can start getting the veil in. I guess. Okay, so I think it is translucent, but otherwise I think it's roughly the same color as the rest of her clothes, just maybe slightly blue on the inside. So I'm just gonna use the same color. So we'll start getting that on there, and it kind of squiggles. And oh man, I have no idea how I'm gonna draw this. Art is hard, man. Art is hard. Okay. I kind of want it to... You know what? I'm going to draw it without any squiggles for now. I'm just going to let it go. And we're going to let half of it, like, kind of flow out here. And I do want it to go back down behind her, but I want to have that nice little flutter in it. Like I said, I'm not worried about the squiggles for now. The squiggles will come later. The squiggles will come later. So I'm gonna send it kind of out that way. And it'll kind of come back behind her shoulder, I guess. That is the hand just too small. You know, that might actually be a large part of it. People are confusing, and it'll always be that way. That's why relationships are hard. So I say, you got my sympathy, friend. But my advice is still just ultimately, you know, be normal for a little while. Don't worry about it. Don't push it. I guess I'll make this skin tone now. Try to get the general gist of the hand in there. Okay, and you know, maybe that actually is part of my problem, where I just made all this a little bit too small. Hold on, I need to... We're gonna put these layers together, and I'm gonna make them a little bit bigger. What I'm saying is, don't panic. Don't panic, don't push it. Just let things develop. Wait for a degree of interest. Because I can guarantee she will be nice to you if you just go up and talk to her. She will. That is not a sign of anything. That is just a girl being a girl. Wait for a bit of reciprocity. There we go. Reciprocity in the relationship. If you are only going out to talk to her and that is the only time you talk, she never approaches you, she never does any such things, then there's probably not a lot there. If she's spending the entire time in group activities on her phone, completely disinterested in anything, she might not even want to be there. And I know that always sucks, but that is kind of how I see it. And I really cannot read the situation through a few words over the internet, so I can't tell you exactly what to do. The unfortunate thing. Okay, that actually does feel a little bit better. So yeah, I just added a little bit too small. Perspective too strong. Cool. Always nice when I'm able to figure that out. I'm even gonna make it a little bit larger. I might need to make the railing a little bit larger too, thinking about it, but I will figure that out too. Alright. I think something like that. I still don't feel like this is, not angled correctly, but let's see here. Yeah, basically. That is a solid way to look at it. But don't worry, it's like there will be signs. And you know what? The worst thing that happens is that you make a complete fool of yourself, and You'll have a funny story to laugh at in 20 years, because, you know, it'll be really, really embarrassing at the time. It'll feel really, really bad. I do not want to undersell that. But, you know, if it doesn't quite work out, the first attempts at love are generally quite awkward. I can tell you mine was, it just happened to work out for me. Thinking about it still makes me want to die, by the way. It was that bad. So, you know, I'd say not to worry about it, but to an extent, I think it probably is worth worrying about. So, I'll always take your relationships with people very seriously, in my opinion. I don't think a lot of people take them seriously enough. This coming from a massive tryhard with no chill, so, you know, what do I know? Alright, it's all getting there. But I do wish you luck, friend. Because, you know, that stuff is rough. It is. I do not deny it. Alright, I'm gonna try to make the railing a little bit more the thickness I think it should be. I think I'm making it look a little too far away. I don't want it to look quite that far away. Here, Leia, you're in the way. I need you to move. Thank you kindly. Let's head back down here. Okay, let's try to get this shaped nice. I kind of like the overall shape that I've got going for the balcony. Yeah, life is like that a lot, unfortunately. And don't let your intrusive thoughts win. There are things that you should say, and there are things that you shouldn't say, and this will always be true. Actually, I think this layer should be behind the balcony layer, since I am putting the railing on like this. Just gonna make everything a little thicker. And these will be lovely decorated pillars someday, but that day is not today. Okay, that should be a little bit better. I should have a little bit more room for her hand now, and yeah, that does look better. I think her head is still a little bit big. I'm just gonna make it a tad smaller. There we go, that's a little bit better. And also, if you have someone that can keep a secret, like a close friend or something, I don't think it necessarily has to be same gender. I don't think it matters that much. Just someone that you can really confide in. I think it'll be good to talk about it with them. Yes, someone that you can trust, not to necessarily, you know, leak things to the girl and make it awkward. I think that's generally a good thing too. But I think that this is where I have to stop for today, and I do think that things are coming along pretty nicely, even with all the talking I was doing. throat dying slightly, but you know what? It's a lot better than it was yesterday, and yesterday I ended a little bit early. So, you know, I am getting better. We're getting there. Hopefully by Christmas I'll be feeling better. God. I hate being sick, man. Respiratory illness, the worst. Yeah, I think that I've got my basic ideas down. I haven't put in my dramatic lighting yet. That's okay, I can do that pretty early on, but I feel like I've got my basic proportions okay, sans whatever the hell I'm doing with this arm. I still don't really like this arm. I'm gonna work on it a lot next time. I mean, I have small children in school. So yeah, in winter I'm basically always sick. It's unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, she doesn't go back to school for the next 2 weeks, so maybe I can have a week where I'm not feeling sick. Oh yeah, I think I like where this is going, so we'll see how it all turns out. Once it's all done, I am looking forward to decorating this railing. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be so cool. I think it's a little crooked right now, but it's okay. I have lots of time to fix everything. You know what? Since I feel like it's a little crooked right now, I'm going to fix it real quick. Where the hell did I put it? Here it is. This one by the end of the year, actually, you know what? I kind of like it a little crooked. Let's make it a little more crooked. We'll make Leia a little crooked, too. Happy accidents. Hell yeah. Will I be able to finish this by the end of the year? How many more drawing sessions am I going to have by the end of the year? Let's see. We're going to have Saturday and Monday. No way in hell I finish it by the end of the year. Yeah, not happening. I should be able to finish it in January, though. But there we go. We got it started. Look, I am very slow at drawing. There's no way I'm going to be able to finish this in another 3 hours. In another 3 to 6 hours. No way. Oh, man. Funny jokes. Let's see. You know what? No, I'm gonna save adjustments for next time. I should probably stop here for today. But yes, good luck, friend. I hope everything works out for you. And as for me, I need to go rest my voice. Fortunately, my throat doesn't hurt. It's just a little bit tired. It maybe needs a bit more water. And I also have phlegm and stuff, and it's terrible. But it's okay. This is way better than I was yesterday. So, improvement. Hopefully, I'll be gooder the next couple of days. I am hopeful. But yes, I will be stopping here for today. So, thank you all for coming, and I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all tomorrow. I finally get to start that game, I think. Yeah. I was looking forward to that last week, but then I was sick and I couldn't talk, and life is hard. So I'm looking forward to that, and I hope you are too.